Hi, Chris Pulaski here, National Training Manager for Oster Professional Products. I want to spend a couple minutes with you and show you how to maintain the Oster 3000i Lithium ion cordless clipper. Now, if maintaining your clippers are not for you, don't worry. There are plenty of great folks out there that would love to repair your clipper. You can find those folks at osterpro.com. And you'll look for either Oster Direct, which is our manufacturing service center, or one of our wonderful authorized service centers. Again, that's osterpro.com, osterpro.com. Okay, now for those of you that don't mind getting your hands dirty, we're going to go ahead and tear our 3000i apart. And for the sake of speeding this thing up, I went ahead and removed the screws in the back. Now on the 3000i, there's little screw covers and they're rubber, and you've got to kind of pry them out, and that covers these 6 holes. All right, you're going to need a star bit size 10 to remove all of the screws in your 3000i. All right, the other tools I like to have around is a cleaning brush, a screwdriver, gear lube, paper towels, and then of course your replacement parts, which we'll talk about. So when we get started, we are also going to remove the battery as well as the blade. Now what's great about the 3000i is it takes all your regular blades. So if you have other clippers and blades, they should all fit if they're a full-size clipper. So it's a wonderful thing. So remove that blade and that battery. Make sure that you remember to remove the small screw that's placed at the bottom of the clipper. Okay, so let's tighten up so you can get a better look at that. All right, so it's right in here. It's a very small screw. All the other screws are the same size, so they're interchangeable. It's great. So at this point, with all 6 screws and the small bottom screw removed, you literally can lift that clipper and separate it. It's great. All right, so here's your PCB board, your rotary motor. Here is your gear or your centric and your lever. So what we're going to do now is we're going to remove that lever, but before we do, we've got to remove the hinge and the blade lock. Now they're 2 pieces, but you want to remove them as one. So I've removed those screws, and what you're going to do is it doesn't come off with the where the blade sits on. It doesn't come off with this sitting up. You want to push that down. It changes the way the blade lock sits. It pulls it down. So now you can just take and push the whole assembly up and out, so that it goes up over the drive tip. Now you're going to flip it over. You're going to remove the rubber tab. Then you've got a seal here, and you're going to have to be very, very careful with that seal, because the seal goes all the way around the drive tip, and if you actually pull, you'll tear it. So you got to remove the whole drive tip at one time. All right, at one time. So one piece, and then that comes off. Okay, so now we're down to where I stop. There's C-clamps and different parts in here that I don't want to have to mess with. So if there's anything other than what I'm showing you broken, I send it to either Oster Direct or one of our authorized service centers. So with that being said, make sure you gently brush off any excess hair. Typically it's not too bad in there, and then we'll just start replacing our parts. How do you know when a drive tip is worn? Well, the drive tip will the tips will be much more worn or angled in. On a new one, they're actually square to slightly angled out. So we're going to get rid of this one and keep the good one. The other thing that you want to check is your locking, your blade lock. And this, you can see on this, on the side that the hook is missing. There's no hook to grab your blade and keep it in place. So this is no good. Then you've got your hinge assembly, and the hinge has a spring inside of it. It's inside this piece, and it has two pins that stick out that are associated with that spring. This one has no pins. They were broken off, so we're going to get rid of that and replace it. Now, with that being said, those are my three major components that I'm concerned with, and I'm going to widen up here, and I'm just going to put this thing back together. First we're going to take our new drive tip. We're going to shove our seal in there, and then if you look at the clipper, there's a little rectangle, a little slot to slide that in. So we're going to get that slid in as we put the lever over the post. So we're going to slide that in there. Now before I do that, I usually add a little bit of gear grease, just a little, not too much. You don't want to get carried away and have that stuff leaking everywhere. So just slide it in, push it down, and you'll hear it pop right into place. So nice clean fit. And you want to shove that little seal down good. And then you're going to take your little rubber piece, and you're going to put that tab right back over. And this tab, there's two little pins that it fits in right here, one there and one there, and it keeps all the stuff out of your clipper, all the hair and dirt and grime. All right, once you got that done, you're ready to put that clipper back together. You're going to slap it together here. Fits right into place. There shouldn't be a whole lot of effort to it. You're going to replace all 6 screws into the clipper. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Come on. Wish it was magic. Just pop it into place. All right, there we go. And then you're going to take these screws. You're going to just drill them in there. All right, another one. Okay. All 6, and then don't forget the one where the battery, the little guy where the battery is. We're going to get that one in there. Okay, it's not the most exciting job in the world, but in many cases it'll save you a few dollars, and you're not without your clipper. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put this little guy in there. Now when you're, how do you know when you need to change your drive tip? Well, I told you about the wear. The other thing is when your clipper is, blade is not cutting very well. And sometimes when the lever starts wearing, you don't get the full sweep of your blade, your cutter going over your comb, and that's what causes that dragging feeling where it's not cutting cleanly. So if you go in and change that drive tip, it usually fixes the problem. Now, if you take that same blade that's not cutting, say on this clipper, and you put it on a new clipper and it's cutting fine, it's the clipper and not the blade. All right, so with that being said, we've got our blade lock and our hinge all ready to go in, and we're going to slip it over top and let it fall into place, and then it should fit right in there, which it's not quite doing that. All right, okay, there we go. All right, it's right into place, nice and tight. And we're going to take our little screws and put them right back in. And tighten those up. Don't over tighten these screws either. You just want to be real gentle. And once it kind of locks in, you just let it go. They won't back out. These are set in really well. Nice long screws. Haven't ever had any trouble. This clipper in particular is over 3 years old, probably 3.5 now. This is only the second time I've changed the lever. Manufacturer's recommendation is probably about once every 6 months, but I usually go by the way my blades are performing. You can put your rubber screw protectors or, you know, caps back in if you want. You're going to need to lift that lever back up now that you got everything back on. You're going to want to put your battery back in. All right, slips right back in. And then turn the clipper on and sit your blade in place and you're good to go. All right, I hope you found this helpful. Thank you very much and enjoy your 3000i.